guys know about Warioland? Not Mario Land, Warioland. Well, believe it or not, Wario has his own line of platform games, which are unfortunately overshadowed by Mario's and even Luigi's games a lot of the times. He's had games across every generation of Game Boy, the Nintendo Wii, and even the Virtual Boy, if you'd believe it. In fact, its Virtual Boy outing is considered the only game on the system worth its salt. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. The game in question is... what's in the fucking title, innit? Warioland 3, it's the fourth one. The Virtual Boy was the second one, so... it's a technicality thing, see? It's called 3, but it's the 4th. You fucking get what I mean. It was the first Warioland game that I ever played, and even though I've since played number 4, I played the shit out of it, and I've played number 2 and even 1, I'd say that number 3 is still probably my favourite one to this day.
Our plot starts off relatively simple. Wario was flying through the sky and one of his plane engines blows, where he becomes stranded in the forest. The scenic overlook with telltale smoke gives us the backdrop of our title screen. Simple exposition and setting up the stakes in about 5 seconds. Game Boy games don't fuck around. If we go ahead and hit new game, we see that copies of the game were nice enough to provide both the English and Japanese translations right in the same cart. As someone who likes to buy Japanese Game Boy carts due to their more commonplace nature and drastically lower price point, I can really appreciate this.
What the fuck is this shit supposed to say?
Lost in the woods, Wario begins to look around and stumbles upon a mysterious music box. One thing I've always appreciated in Warioland games is the theming, which often errs much more on the idea of ancient exploration and mysticism, as opposed to the cartoony outlandishness of the Mario series. Oftentimes, Wario feels like a spanner in greater works, as grandiose architecture and ancient magic works its way around a brutish protagonist whose only motivations boil down to endless greed. I'm not kidding about that. Look at this television ad for the first Warioland. He seriously is a selfish asshole.
Repeat after me. I'm the bad guy in Warioland, Super Mario Land 3, where being bad is good and greed is good. Come and get it on Game Boy, greedy.
I'm very charitable. I drove a bus through a desert. It was a lot of pain. I really fucking hated it, but I did it for the kids. So if you're calling me greedy, go fuck yourself. Immediately, Wario was sucked into the music box and is left out cold as a mysterious shape emerges.
Hey, what is that? I didn't say this was exclusive to Game Boy Lose Faith in God edition.
The mysterious figure promptly informs our pompous capitalist that he's awakened inside of the music box, which contains an entire world within its glass. He claims to be a god who was sealed away by a wicked force, and asks of you to find 5 different music boxes scattered across the world to awaken him from his slumber. In return for Wario's handiwork, the hidden figure promises to return Wario to the outside world and will allow him to take with him the treasure he finds on his way. Without a word of protest, Wario agrees to the deal and sets off on his adventure, which gives us our first look at the world map. Previous entries in the series adopted a linear but more explorative structure than that of Mario platformers, with level layouts and designs similar to that of the Kirby series, involving multiple optional doors and pathways per level, but still with an obvious end goal in every level. The last 2 games, Warioland 4 and Warioland Shake Dimension, also followed this template. However, Warioland 3 approaches things much differently, and adopts a similar structure to that of what you see more commonly in 3D collectathons such as Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. We have a mostly non-linear level with multiple goals to achieve. Inside of each level, we have 8 optional music coins, which if all 8 are collected will allow you to access a hidden 4th golf course. Yay. We also have 4 colored keys and 4 chests that correlate with each key. Opening a chest will present the player with a treasure unique to that chest and will return the player to the map screen. More often than not, searching for the key to the chest will take a player to a different portion of the level, evading obstacles and solving puzzles, and searching out the chest will likely cause you to come across obstacles in a similar vein on a different portion of the map. While a good portion of the treasures are purely collectibles, there are many important treasures that will open up new levels and modify existing ones, opening up new pathways to previously unreachable areas, keys, and chests, as well as different abilities for Wario.
This brings me to my first point of criticism of the game, and admittedly I'm a little bit biased on this front, because this is the first Warioland game that I've ever played. In other Wario games, Wario was able to have his entire moveset available from the get-go, but in Warioland 3 he's only able to run, jump, and do a basic attack. This is a huge sticking point for a lot of people, but for me, like I said, this is the first Warioland game I've ever played, so it wasn't that much of a problem for me. I just have to sort of point it out because I'm aware it's a problem for other people. So if this is your first time going into the game, well, you might have a better time with it like I did.
Warioland 3 features a slew of unique mechanics, for the most part revolving around Wario's invincibility. Enemies will either inconvenience Wario by stinging him into a staggered state as he bounces off to the side, or will transform Wario into a different form that can either be a help or a hindrance. Wario will be set on fire, inflated, not like that, and rolled into an almost unstoppable ball of fiber, flattened to a spring like a slinky pancake, taken by the scalp of owls, and electrocuted to his very core. These can take Wario back to the very start of platforming sections, or allow him to destroy special blocks that can only be destroyed in that state, or traverse to higher ground. These transformations are often used in tandem with Wario's powers to solve puzzles and even defeat bosses. It's the kind of game where you gotta use every lesson you learn, and I think that's a fantastic core of game design. The game's presentation is also pretty fantastic, with diverse colors and visuals and damn catchy tunes, which if you're a regular watcher of my channel, you'll probably recognize in some of my videos and even my previous reviews. Additionally, there's a freaking day and night cycle that actually affects the behavior of multiple levels, for example a desert temple that opens half in the daytime and the other half in the night. For a Game Boy Color game to boast a feature like that is damn impressive. Bosses are equally ridiculous and intimidating, from pirate ghosts and totem chipmunks to horrifying this thing. The final boss is something ridiculous, so I'm gonna leave that for the spoiler section. Ironically, Warioland 3 will make you think and observe a hell of a lot more than almost any other Mario game, and you really feel a sense of accomplishment as you push your yellow blister of a man between biomes. The platforming is slower and more careful, and less about combat so much as timing and spatial awareness. I seriously believe Wario's best games are severely underrated, with Warioland 3 being no exception of course, and I suggest wholeheartedly that you get yourself around to playing this game at the very least. Maybe even start with this game first so you aren't irked by the reasons I mentioned before. Anyways, if you're off to play the game, I wish you the best of luck, but I'm heading off to the spoiler section, which will be on screen very soon. Spoiler section for Wario 3.
Okay, so the end of the game is fucked.
You get the 6 music boxes for the hidden figure, and he turns into an eldritch-ass clown being from an astral plane, fucking bike horns for ears and shit, teeth looking like a great white shark. This was honestly one of the scariest reveals I think I ever experienced in any game as a child, and even today there's this desperate feeling you get from the scenario as the roof caves in around you and you are betrayed by the only other thing in this world that can speak to you. On top of this, he's the only entity in the entire game capable of giving you a game over, and if you're killed by him, you have to restart the entire fight over again. Even as you start to beat him, his face becomes progressively grotesque, and the large sprite size allows the artist to really push the grossness of his ugly mug, adding bulging veins and puffing wrinkles in his lips. The fight itself is relatively easy, some might say a little disappointingly so, as you simply have to ass slam his fists as they come barreling towards you and chuck them at his nose. But the atmosphere, the visual detail, and the general theming of the boss is what gets to you, and I'm surprised he's never really been brought back, if you exclude Dr. Mario 64. I'm not kidding, he's the villain of Dr. Mario 64. In addition to the last boss dropping your gut, you also discovered that the enemies you've been killing throughout the entire game were innocent villagers cursed and transformed by the evil clown. That is some genuine ancient Greek tragedy level hero shit. That is messed up.
Take that, you demon sport! Bring it on! What is this poison I see from mine eyes? I have been fooled, and I have killed mine babies! Actually, I don't really shoot anything. I didn't shoot anything, because there's no magazine in this weapon. Because Adam's no stock now, so that's a load of shit.
However, Wario escapes with what he came for, all the treasure that you, the player, found on your journey. Of course, the game save is still playable even after beating the game, so you can sweep up the remaining treasure you missed. And trust me, you probably missed a few. Some of them are easy to miss, and some are downright complex to figure out. I only managed to get every treasure early this year, and I felt ridiculously accomplished for doing so. Like I said, collecting all the music coins only really gets you an extra golf course. However, it does unlock you this funky as fuck screen at the end of the game. Just look at that face. He's really proud of you.
So that was Warioland 3, and my mouth still tastes of garlic. Hopefully you guys will check it out, because it's honestly one of my favorite games. Probably my favorite game on the Game Boy system, apart from, say, Pokemon, and possibly Super Mario Land 2. But other than that, it's pretty damn good, and I recommend you guys check it out. It is available on the Nintendo eShop for the 3DS, and I don't know if it's available on the Wii U, but I know it is for sure on the 3DS, and obviously there are other means of getting it, like buying it off eBay, because you can buy the cart for cheap, because it comes in both English and Japanese. Like I mentioned, you guys should check it out, because Warioland 3 is a Warioland thumb up. That doesn't work as a pun, does it? Shit. Stupidest thing I've ever done.